snaps. You know what I made? The worst part of the game. Hell yeah. Who's excited? Who's excited? Let's do this. So, let's talk about why this is the worst part of the game. First and foremost, we're on the middle of the ocean with not really a lot of direction on where to go or how to go there. Second of all, we're just Gobi, who is low level and garbage. He is the worst character for combat. He actually shouldn't even be a combat character. Him being a party member is fine, but you know, we've had plenty of these type of games where there are party members who are not actually playable, right? But no, for some reason, he's combat worthy. And his stats and his abilities are all garbage. Did you see that? Did you see what the variance between his attack and mine? Why are you a fish? Because I don't have an answer for that question. Yep, so that means the enemies can 3-shot us at this point, if you're paying attention to that. Oh, we got lucky with that one. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, surely it can't be that bad. Oh no, this is like the perfect culmination of terrible. So first of all, solo section. Now, solo sections can work as long as you design the section around the solo section, which of course they didn't do. In fact, the enemies down here are some of the hard... In fact, they are the hardest enemies we've encountered at this point in the game. There are only 3 areas with harder enemies on the overworld in the entire game, and all of them are right by the final dungeon. This is the 4th highest level area in the game, in terms of just random encounters. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2. These are his spells. They both suck. Problem number 3 is that he sucks. So, solo only... high-level zone, terrible character. Also, good luck figuring out where you're going.
Why is the water moving, but you're not? You're just on top of
She just keeps asking all the right questions here. She should be a reviewer instead of me. Alright, here. How many negatives do you give this section of the game?
89.
Okay, there you go. Negative 89 to gameplay. There is running, but like in most older JRPGs, it sucks.
Guys are moving either.
Yep. This is Prima. You'll find an abundance of the goods here. Yeah, so... you were selling fake happiness jars? No wonder you lost your license. Yeah, that's a little headache-inducing. Here's the really messed up part, though. So I, of course, knew exactly where I was going, so I could go exactly where I was going. But trust me when I say, when you're first playing this and you don't know where you're going, this is a great place to get lost in. But this entire level, this town, has a whole gimmick to itself. Notice anything strange about the buildings right there? I won't blame you if it's hard to see because of the waving. Yeah, exactly, Sarura. Yeah, she picked it up on it. There are 2 inns.
Oh, there is. I didn't realize there was 2.
Yeah. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 weapon and armor, excuse me, 6 weapon and armor shops. And at least, looks like 5 item shops. Yeah.
Why are they right next to each other?
That's a good question. They all charge different prices for different items, which may or may not be worth it. Now, hang on. At this point, we do actually want to pick up a specific few items. But some of these items are... like, this sounds neat on paper, but because of how irritating this game is to play, this is just frustrating. Because good luck figuring out which inn and which item sells which for what. Some of them sell the same items. Most of them sell them for different prices from each other. Which, again, makes sense. But you can understand how that's frustrating because it means you have to run around looking for the right place to get the right item. And you don't even know which items you actually want. Oh, by the way, does this music sound familiar to anybody? Real question. Does it sound familiar to you?
Yes, it sounds like a band.
Exactly. See, she understands.
Because I can't hear the music, I can only hear the band.
I don't blame you for not understanding it, really. But this song is substantial. It's even significant, believe it or not. I gotta double check something really quick. Gotta check the timeline here. Okay, so it's not as early as it sounds. But I think this still qualifies as one of the earliest, because this is one of the earliest games Yoko Shimomura did music for. This is her. This is after Street Fighter II for a bit of perspective. For those of you not aware, she got her start over on Capcom. She did music for Final Fight, the original, Gargoyle's Quest, Adventure in the Magic Kingdom, that's the Mickey game, Street Fighter II, King of Dragons, and then Breath of Fire. She wouldn't get her big break until Super Mario RPG. That one, that's pretty much when people recognized that she was a great composer. And from then on, she started getting lots and lots of much better games. But anyways, thank you, Micromano, for the sub, as always. If you want to put that towards up to 3 things, do please let me know. Or be destroyed. Both of these are acceptable outcomes.
Don't destroy anyone.
But I like destroying people. It's fun. Okay, so I could get a javelin for 4,000 gold. Or maybe that's it. Maybe only the one place sells a javelin. Okay, so I need weapon shop 5 specifically. The fact that I have to sit here staring at a map and cross-referencing things to figure out where to buy items is all I need to say about how irritating this is. So it's this one right here. Oh, thank God it's not wavy inside. Javelin, please. So give me one moment, Micromano. And I will jot those down for the JLU, whatever we're up to on that. I don't remember, but whatever, I'll figure it out later. Or maybe Evo will, because I don't know. Wow, Kata to Legion, and Railway Empire. So, I think I'm not going to be that harsh about it, Loke, but I do think I agree with you. So first of all, graphics, wavy underwater effect. And then MSQ, Gobi section. This might legitimately qualify as a triple negative, to be completely honest with you. First of all, like we're up to 5 things if you're paying attention. Gobi sucks. You're by yourself. No good direction on where you're going. The enemies are bonkers hard. And we've also got the inconsistent irritation of navigating this stupid town I'm in right now. Oh yeah, there's also a whole lot of, where do I go next? What's the next step I'm supposed to be doing? Yeah, no, this whole section, this just, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Yada. Yada, yada. I guess that's yada, 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 yada in this case. Always appreciate. If you know what you want to put those towards, please let me know. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a walkthrough. Jet Force Gemini, is that on the list, Yada? If it's not, yeah, we'll look into it. What's your backup? I'll look into it. Jet Force Gemini. Because I don't even know what that's on, or like how to procure it, or anything. So, I'll have to do some digging. Okay, I want to buy, it's like an icy shield and a horn helmet. 64. Like I said, I'll look into it. What's your backups? Here, let me help you guys out for a second there while I'm looking this up. So I need Horn HT, which is there. So that's at Weapon Shop 1. And I need Ice Shield. So Weapon Shop 1. And Weapon Shop 1. Okay, so Weapon Shop 1 is the one in the lower left. And for backup options, we've got BRPG, DBZ Kakarot, Dragon Quest 8. Thank you, Yada. Probably gonna say yes, but I always like to have that backup just in case. You never know. I'll go to the weapon shop. Alright, so I want... Yes, please up my defense by 30. Okay. Now we're in a little bit of a better position. Now, this isn't a bad time to level up Gobi, but here's the really bad part. The worst part about this whole section is, because he's solo and because these are high-level mobs, you could level Gobi quite quickly here. But why would you? There's no benefit for doing so. Gobi is not a character you'll be using in combat, if you can avoid it, except for this section. He really is like Sten, but even worse, if you can believe it that way. He's our MVP. Well, there's also another mechanic here. So let's go ahead and save state. And let's show off this mechanic. It's called the Flea Market. This is weird. So, in the Flea Market, you can buy all kinds of random, unique stuff, and there's some RNG about what shows up, and blah, 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 blah. Like, this stuff can be random, and there can be some random, really, really good stuff here. But this isn't actually where you want to do your trading. Actually, yeah, Lord Harrowpot, that's a good way to put that. Oh, hang on, there was a marble 3. I do want to buy some marble 3s. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over to this guy. Welcome to Weapon Shop. Let's see. Anything worth a damn? Nope. That's okay. Because the real benefit of this place, and we're going to pop a save state there, is selling. What can I do for you? I'll sell my rod too. I'll take 12. No, thank you. How about 11? No. And then we could sit here and buy items from people. Now, here's the fun thing. This is... slow. That's the simplest and nicest way I could possibly put this. This is something that you're just supposed to sit here and for literal hours just buy and sell items. And it's funny you would say that because I was about to say the Torneko section in memory is better than this. I think it's because the Torneko section is overall better designed. So what happens in Dragon Quest IV is first you get a pen, and then you write on your niece's arm with it.
No, thank you.
You scribble off in your niece's arm with it. I would actually get you. What happens in the Torneko section?
I have a question.
Okay.
How is there fire underwater?
Well, you see...
The door is open
The-
to the water. How is it not flooding this place?
Asking the real questions here. Ask Bender.
Why
That
is
just
there fire?
raises further questions! Like, imagine that you're underwater, and you're like, why is that happening? And then someone says, oh, hey, I found my cigar, and he starts puffing away on it. Underwater. Anyways, these are good questions. The Torneko section. So you have Torneko. Now, Torneko's an interesting character in Dragon Quest IV because his stats aren't good, but he has a really good. I want to say it's a luck stat. He has really good of, which makes his crits nice, and he's got a decent chunk of HP. So he's already better than Gobi in combat. First thing. Second of all, in the Torneko section, you can run around and just fight things in the nearby area, and use them in order to increase your damage output, or you can go sell them, and you can always sell them for more than they're worth. So you're automatically rewarded. Like, the drop rates on the items in the tornado section are huge. So you pretty much always get items by going out and hunting. It's a little more Monster Hunter and a little less this. So you go out, you hunt, you go sell them, you get tons of money. And then you offer to buy stuff, and bit by bit, you'll get access to more and more and more gear from the vendors that you're going through that section. There's a natural progression curve, and it's kind of what pushes you through the chapter, right? In this case, you roll a dice. Every single time you go by there, you just roll a dice. And there is a way to control it, believe it or not. If you dump your entire inventory into the bank, you will always get people who try to sell stuff to you. But if you don't, people will come and try to buy the stuff you have on you. But the thing is, that is the only control you have over this section. And the gigantic time waste is just a little bit too much. Now, I don't think it's negative worthy, but I think this is the kind of thing that, like the Tornado section, could have been awesome, and instead just kind of falls flat thanks to execution, my opinion. I should also mention that there are 3 categories of buy lists based on where you're at in the story. So the stuff you can buy depends on exactly what plot triggers you've hit. I don't actually know which one we're in right now. I assume we're in the first because we just got here. I know when the second one ends, and I know that on purpose because the second one has items that the third one does not. The second one also includes several best gear in the game. So if you don't manage to successfully do this method and then get the best gear in the game, it's gone forever when you get to the third method, which happens as soon as Nina rejoins the party, if you know where that is. So, as usual, a little bit of a walkthrough problem here. So at this point in the game, we can get armor for Blue, which we don't even have. Armor for Ox and Mogu, whom we also don't have. Smokescreen, which is a run item. Protein bar. Flame attack. Yeah, so it looks like right now there's nothing really worth buying. So I don't think I'm going to bother with it at the moment. But again, on the second time, we really want to grab... Let's see. The Dark DR, which is the best weapon for Karn. And... trying to find the other one. I believe it's the Sleeper, which is the best weapon for Gobi. Now, we don't actually care that much about Gobi, admittedly, so we might not bother with that one. But yes, I actually did play this game in 1994. I have a question for you from the crowd, Minizan, which is you, as a reminder. What do you think of the water effect?
I think it's kind of cool, but it's hard to read the signs, and it's kind of confusing how your character doesn't have it. How none of the characters have it.
Look, we're a fish. Why would we be... No, I get you. What do you think of the bubbles?
Those are good. I like those.
Okay, so that's the flea market. We've bought all the things we want to grab in town. Let's go and advance the plot and get out of this frickin' solo-only section. So this is... You like backtracking, right? I hope that losing your license taught you a lesson, Gobi. So what brings you here today? Gills? We don't have any! Please remember that. If you want them, go to Gant. Okay, well, there's our plot advancement.
We don't have any gills, says a fish.
Yep.
How are you breathing then?
It's fine, it's fine. Is this the 200 GP one? Yep, okay. We will recover, because we need it.
Or is it like a form of currency? Item.
It's an item, I think. Okay, so now we have to get to Gant. Okay,
Why
so...
is your village so small?
It's a... So, because the overworld map is can't be the actual size of a map, because, I mean, think about how huge that would be, right? Everything's kind of shrunk down and representationized, so, like, that's supposed to be, like, several square miles, that little spot there. And we're traveling for days. Okay, Okay, so we need to go this way. Thankfully, I have a map, so I know where I'm going. These aren't even that far from each other, but it's really easy to die here. Thankfully, that new armor made it so that those only put us down to half health from one round. Oh, come on! I think we're dead. Oh my god, I can't believe we lived through that. Yeah, I noticed no waves in battle.
But the plants are moving.
Well, yeah. They're grooving. Oh god, where's all my herbs? Oh, they're there. And we're dead.
Don't you go before you were?
Yeah, that didn't go off in time. Okay. Well, we just lost like 30,000 gold.
Yay, more money.
Cool.
I don't get it. They're monster fish. What would they want to do with your money?
I don't know. Okay, we could probably kill one thing.
It's that.
Maybe.
What is it?
Oh yeah, that's the other funny thing. In the one section, which is all about money, with the fish people whose entire gimmick is being traders, and the guy whose entire gimmick is being able to sell items at a shop to make money, is when you're most likely to die a lot, which costs you exactly one thing in this game, which is... There you go.
And also herbs and stuff.
Well, yeah. Speaking of which, do we still have any herbs? We have a couple. Okay, let's use these. Oh my gosh. Let's get out of here. The good news, if you can call it that, is that this area has really low-level encounters. So that's nice. These are the kind of encounters you probably should have had this entire time, by the way, because this is Gobi.
You can one-shot them.
That's a good point. If we want to torment us, that's... Minizan says hi. I mean, honestly, this whole section, turbo sucks. Probably going to triple up on a negative for this. This is the worst freaking section of the entire game. The worst part, though... So I say this is a better section, but it's actually... So I'm lying. I'm wrong. So underwater is enemies that are too high level for us to successfully kill, which means we're going to get clobbered. And above ground is enemies that are so low level that they're not worth killing. So we're either dying or wasting our time. Thanks, game. This is what we call bad game design. Where's your phone? Okay. You got a screen time? I did hit record, right? It could be worse. We could be a monkey. In all honesty, the Sten section is worse than this. So, make it out what you will. What they probably should have done is either designed encounters specifically for Gobi, you know, enemies that, for example, have low health or low armor, so they take more damage from physical attacks. Or maybe, like, give Gobi a special attack that's really useful on enemies in that area, something like that. And enemies that are probably lucrative in terms of money, experience, and most importantly of all, items. Because, again, the flea market mechanic, which like I was just talking about with Torneko. Neither. There is no such thing as the Ferengi Alliance Company. Any questions? Open the chest. Hey, we just got the best item in the game, the Hourglass. It's an item that lets us change us from night to dark. Wait, we already had both the light and the dark keys before we get this. Why is that an item in this game? Anyways. Well, I mean, considering the Ferengi are one of the founding members of the Federation, I'm not sure what to tell you, Gum Gum.
I just realized I was hungry.
Well, go eat.
I realized that because I was drinking lots of water.
Yeah.
My brain thinks liquids are food.
Eat, it's not food. Oh. Can you sell the keys? I hope not, because if you can, you have just soft-locked yourself on beating the game. You need all the keys to beat the game. Good afternoon, Dark Day.
Hey, can I buy that key from you?
Sure! Ding! And you lost the game. Congrats.
What are those flashy things?
Those are coal. That's burning coals. It's where they make, like, smithing stuff. Very, very descriptive, I know. Smithing stuff. Where am I going? Giant town with nothing in it. Oh, I'm in a nutshell.
Hey,
It's Burly Man. Are you from Prima? The Dark Dragons attacked and took our young man. Take some goods to the Prima owner. Thank you. The goods are in the treasure chest. Thanks. You got the good. You take goods.
stealing my kid.
Gobi can't break the wall. Only the fourth wall.
You take goods.
Take goods and take lives. You take a potion.
I love how you can just go through their house and steal their stuff.
Yep. The young men are being forced to build a secret weapon. They're being held at a fortress on the western side of the mountains. In the mountains. I'm being asked if you know what the fourth wall refers to. Okay. Have you ever seen a play? In a play, there are 3 walls, right? It's one here, and one here. But there's no space here, right? Because this is where we're watching, otherwise we couldn't see what's going on. So all of the actors and all the audience imagine a 4th wall here. In other words, for all intents and purposes, they can't see us and we can't see them. But if the actors acknowledge the people, and if the people acknowledge the actors, the 4th wall is broken. So anytime there's a video game or a show or a movie or a book or a play or whatever, where they acknowledge that they're in a game or a show or whatever, where they like talk directly to the audience, that's breaking the 4th wall. Make sense?
I love how you're just doing your normal walking animation down the stairs. As in, that's part of the floor.
I mean, yeah. I don't think she's familiar with Deadpool. Are you familiar with Deadpool?
I mean, I know what it is, but not really.
There you go.
I know the character.
I actually learned about the 4th wall very early in life because I got into theater very early in life. That's pretty much the only reason. So I hope you enjoyed that section we just did, because the entire point of this particular quest is to go to Prima, talk to the guild guy, go up here to... Oh, yeah, right, I need to find the... Is this Tunlin? Okay, what's the name of this town? What town is this? Nope, this is Gant. Where's Tunlin? Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyways, so now we go back. We don't talk about the 5th wall. I can think of exactly one story I've ever seen ever where I liked breaking the 5th wall. Points if you can even guess it. Yeah, it's more literal than you'd think, isn't it, Walker? It's the 4th wall. Yeah, the 5th wall is the ceiling in this case. It's when the characters are familiar with the writer, and vice versa. Usually I don't like this kind of stories, like I just said. Oh, and to give it away, the answer to the one story I liked where they break the 5th wall regularly is Bob and George. If you actually know what Bob and George is and can give me a good explanation for what it is right now, I will put $1 towards a game of your choice. Holy crap, little Billy. And Bladeable. 2 people know what Bob and George is. Holy crap. Okay, so we might die here. So I'm gonna cast ABX. Let's cast ABX again. Because otherwise we're about to die. Favorite webcomic? Yeah, Bob and George. I'm not actually joking. I was following Bob and George when it started. I got in at the ground floor of a lot of webcomics. That one included. The Bard's Tale. You remember that game we played recently? That was a good 5th wall break example. Not a good game, though, and not a good story, which goes back to what I was just saying. Okay, so now we talk to the guild guy again. You brought the goods, Gobi. Please take the gills with my thanks. Oh, hey, they suddenly have gills. There's a letter. It says Gant has been attacked. What's that noise? The dark dragons have attacked a small boat. The survivor of the boat attack needs your help. I'll be right there, right away. What's going on? A ghost has come to take him away to the netherworld. Soon you will join me. We can't lose him, Gobi. He has important information to pass on. I know a warrior can shoo away that ghost. It will cost 10,000 gold. That's too much. How about 5,000? No. How about 5,500? No. Okay, 6,000. That's all I can afford. Okay. Great. Get moving. Well, we have the gills at least. And the Gobi section. This was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was, admittedly. It's still bad. I'm thinking double negative for this, but it's no Sten section. Sten section is so bad. Just... yeah, it's effectively already over. Hope you remembered where you were back when, you know, you started this whole sequence. I should mention there's quite a bit to explore down here, so if you get lost, like if you go off the beaten path, you can get very lost down here. Definitely not speaking from experience. Definitely didn't have to have my friend Gary walk over and tell me where the hell I was going, because I was so lost and on the verge of death, and I'm like, Gary, where's the freaking town? He's like, what? Oh, hang on. Where are you? I don't know. Look, I'm dumb, okay? You do not know the power of the dumb side. Listen, cacti need water too, okay? Sorry I'm late. Are you ready? What are you waiting for? I can't wait any longer. Yes, let's bring the woman who has wings underwater. The gills are in place. So now we're fine. Although now we have 5 party members, so that sucks. Oh, and by the way, it does split the experience amongst your whole party. So Bo is draining our experience right now. So that's cool. heal really quick. Because this is a boss fight. I believe we need Gobi for this part. I could be wrong. I guess we could try it. Get out of my party, Gobi. You are trash! You are so garbage. Nobody likes you. Thrifter. I've never thought about it, Gum Gum. I imagine you just look into purchasing one, either through magic or through tech. Also depends on what you mean by new body part. Because if, like, for example, you lose your arm, well, then that's covered. I would mind that less if they had actually designed the experience curve to give substantially more experience when you get more party members, which they don't. So instead, the amount of experience you get actually kind of starts to shrink over time, percentage-wise. Give up! You're powerless against me! What's up? You want to, like, do anything, or are you just gonna stand there? Cool. So anyways, as I was saying, let's start using our thunders or earthquakes. Yeah, party level is something I wish more RPGs leaned into. Tactics Ogre, I believe, did that. You know, where there is a level for your party, not for your individual characters. They are just all the party level. And that's a good system, I think. It bypasses a lot of these issues. Right, I'm coming. So I was just reading up a little bit. Listen, robotic arms are great. That's all I'm saying. I mean, who wouldn't want a robotic arm if you had the choice? Yeah, the Suikoden system is actually quite good for all the complaints I have about the Suikoden games, and I have several. That's not one of them. The catch-up / anti-grind method of Suikoden is great. I can only think of like 2 other games that pull that, and they're both Paper Marios. And Suikoden is the most perfect game ever. Please don't kill me, Savacom. Don't kill me, Savacom. No! Not the stair. Please. Please. Oh my god, just die. You're not even worth my time. Die. Arg, I'm losing. This can't be. That's a good question, Evo. Tell me the plot really quick, Evo. Where am I? What happened? Why are the Dark Dragons after you, Ox? I was running from them because I had to give you a message. I'm one of the metalsmiths. Our trade's been handed down for years. The dragons, knowing we are skilled, forced us to make a secret weapon. We tried to fight, but they captured our families. If I help him, I may be able to get my license back. Let's go. We have vowed to defeat Zog's forces. We will help you. The world's greatest thief is on your side. Feel better? Hold it. Why didn't you talk to me about this? Well done. The people trust you now. Keep it up. What? Thank you. Let's go destroy the secret weapon of the Dark Dragons. Let's rock. Ox joined the party. My experience gain just shrunk again. Alright, hang on. I need to double check something in the walkthrough really quick. So the plot so far, I mean, Geludo said something jokingly, but that's not a joke. The plot so far is, there are Dark Dragons, they're dicks, and we're trying to stop them wherever we can. If you replace Dark Dragons with pre-Nazi Germany, then you kind of got it. Post-World War I Germany. They're like, oh god, we need to expand and conquer to fix our economy. And that's pretty much where they're at. One second. I need an iron hammer. The walkthrough actually, the new walkthrough recommends we level to level 20 here. And you're probably thinking, aren't you already level 20? Yeah, no. He's 17, he's 16, and he's 15. But no, let's get this thing. So iron hammer first, which is in shop number 1, which is the lower left one. Bye, kiddo. Sure, Gum Gum. Do I have a gun where I can kill myself instantly? Because I sure do love suicide. Thanks, YouTube. No, the next game ramps up the plot a lot more, which is funny, because it's also much worse localized. Don't worry, I know the plot. I'll tell you it as we go through it. But, it's a little bit rougher. Alright, so we need to go to Gant. Hang on, we got to do some running around for a second here. So let's do some running around. So first we'll go to Gant. I can't use warp underwater. Why? Oh, don't worry. I've got more bullets, Gum Gum. I like how this fish is like, I can kill that Gobi guy again. Oh god, he's got friends this time. Ugh, ugh, ugh. I do like the variety of the species in the Breath of Fires. Always have. Reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy XII, which is one of the only FF games to do something similar. I wasn't counting MMOs. Yeah, there's tons... They do this whole animal... They call them clans or tribes, depending on the specific game. And they can all crossbreed. But it's just an interesting concept. It's a little bit more whimsical, I think is the word I would use for it. My kingdom was destroyed. I'm one of the few who knows this spell. Oh, yeah, hang on. Get out of my frickin' party. Who are you, Karn? Let me teach you this spell. Yes, Ox's purpose in the party is to get us access to breakable stuff, and Gobi's purpose in the party is to get us through underwater stuff. Mogu's purpose in the party, or God, whatever his stupid name is to be able to dig things. And all three of them can be combined into Karn. Well, it's funny you say that, because over time... Yeah, Karn is actually OP as hell. We'll get to it. You wouldn't think that from the Thief character, but no, really. There's also 0 detriment to having him morphed. That's another fun thing. Getting off topic. The more you dilute the bloodline, the less the animal traits show up. So what happens over time is, let's say you have an ox person and a winged person, you know, they marry, and then they have a child, and that person marries like another species, and they have a child, and they marry another species, and they have a child. And over time, they just become more human. There's a Japanese mythos thing here that I don't know the term for, so please forgive me. But it's the idea of we're effectively kami, right? And each of us is our own little species, but the more we dilute the bloodline, the more we crossbreed across species, the more we default into the default species, which is just plain old human. This is also, like, you can see this with the light dragons, who have pretty much completely bred the dragon gene out of their gene pool, so they're just people now. Oh yeah, fusion forms are crazy. We'll talk about this more in a bit. Jesus, Lord Aramont, that's one way to do that. Okay, so we got that ability. Hang on, where are we at? So it looks like we got Shin just now, which is Bow and Gobi. Which I guess we could just do now. There's no reason not to. So we are now fused with Bow and Gobi. We effectively have our entire party in the party right now. Notice his health. From the way the setting is set up, no. Once you've diluted the gene pool too far, it's non-recoverable. This is a recurring theme, is that the dragon gene is slowly getting less and less in the setting, the further in the timeline we get. Spoilers, so it does go Breath of Fire 1, 2, and 3 chronologically. There's lots of dragons in 1, there's hardly any in 2, and there's like an extreme rarity of dragons in 3. There's only like 2 left in Breath of Fire 3. Anyways. That's true. You can... Oh, yeah, this is what he looks like now, too. He gets unique forms. Yeah, both playable. Go figure. Okay, so let me double check here. We need to go to Romero. And we need to go grab some things. Hang on. For the Breath of Fires, you don't really need to know 1 to enjoy 2. 2 does directly reference 1 several times. But... those are a little bit more in the flavor lore thing, rather than being directly related to the story. 3 is a little bit different, but you could still probably play 3 and not play 1 and 2, and you're not really going to miss a lot. I'll tell you this, the very, very beginning of 3 is a panning shot of 1. Make of that what you will. I mean, again, the idea is that they're all magical beings. Again, the kami thing, or whatever that's actually called. Happy New Year, Saber for Wife. Hope you're doing well, because if you aren't... Hey, Linkelda. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing well, because if you aren't... Karn is a legendary thief who was a member of the ancient tribe of Doom. Now, I know what you're saying. Which ancient tribe of Doom? Because there's at least 3 that we know of in this setting. To be completely honest with you, I don't know which. Off the top of my head, I'd have to look it up. Thank you very, very much, Linkelda. Yeah! I will put that towards the Jack Block, the Ratchet & Clank Collection, and Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Legacy. Venters, listen, I already funded Wildermyth. What do you want from me, man? Lunar Eternal Blue. That would actually make sense, Crazy Norse. And the shamans, we do know, are another one of those ancient, you know, passed down through the generations kind of art. Yeah, no kidding, Noel. So, Lunar Eternal Blue. What the heck is Lunar Eternal Blue? Let's see. It is apparently a sequel to the game we're playing in a few days. Lunar Eternal Blue. How much are you? No, not the strategy guide, the game. $150. Nope, I'm wrong. $280. Hang on, I'm checking the used options. Oh, jeez, this doesn't even have any used options. Oh, nope, I'm wrong. It has a copy for $300 or $700. Is there any digital version? Like, it doesn't say here if there's a digital version of this anywhere. No, Ventures. That's not how that works. Like, is it on the Switch or Steam? GOG? Oh, geez, Crazy Norse. Alright, here's what we're gonna do, Ventures. Give me your backups. I have to check the PS3 PSN later anyways to check for something. Ow. So do me a favor. Give me your backups, and I'll look into it later, okay? Off camera. So what are your backups? Okay, take your time, take your time. Really sucks, Crazy Norse. I know that digital is its own problem, you know, with like not owning games and things being removed from stores and all that sucks, but let's be honest with ourselves for a second. There is a very big benefit of being able to sell games digitally. Being able to buy them. Oh yeah, so since he is now partially bow, he can go through forests. Anyway, so where am I going? GOG is a bit of an outlier, but you are correct, obviously. Now, when I think of the digital store problem, Steam, I'm not really worried about Steam. Not really. No, I'm worried about things like, say, the PlayStation Store. How many of you bought any Star Trek, or excuse me, Discovery content? Purchased Discovery content on the PlayStation Store? Because you can no longer access that now. That's nuked. That's gone. So I'll take your money. Chrono Cross is on the list, but I happen to own that. Any PS1 game you see on the list is either has a digital copy I can currently, access, or, I was lucky enough to have purchased back in the day. Jesus! Goddamn, Karn. You take life! Oh yeah, Chrono Cross is also on the Switch. I forgot about that, but thank you for reminding me that. It's the same exact thing with the DS, the GameCube, and the PS2. That whole era of gaming, if I don't already own a copy of it, or it's not available in some kind of digital format, probably not actually gonna be streamable. By which I mean procurable. I know, Evo. I know. Oh, wow. Sovkov. Not that I blame you. I hate Chrono Cross, but I held on to it because I'm a hoarder when it comes to game collections. I know what you're thinking. You're a hoarder? Well, no. Let me defend myself for a second. See, once upon a time... Hang on a second for Sabervoy. Once upon a time, my mother was like, hey, video games suck and I hate you. I don't think she actually said that, but she very vindictively and very spitefully made me sell off most of my NES games. I've told this story before. I can't remember the full list right now. It was like I kept Final Fantasy 1, Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario Bros. 3, and like 2 other games. I forget. It was like 5 games I kept. And I kept my NES. But she made me sell off all of my other NES games. When I went back about 6 years ago and re-bought them because I wanted them for my collection and for the show, it cost me several $100s to pre-procure them. I remember how much money I got from them back in the day because it was $70. I got $70 for my whole collection. Now you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with spite? Well, she always hated video games and the fact that I played video games. So she couldn't bring herself to force me to stop playing video games in general, so she told me, when we moved, this one particular move, you can keep your SNES or your NES, but you're selling one of them. The only choice was to sell the NES, so I did. You know what's really stupid? I had one of those, what do you call them? It's like the cases, right? Like, it was almost like a suitcase. It was like this big, and you could pop it open like this, and the NES fit right here, and it had a slot for where the cables could go out. And then it had, like, the shelving slots, the vertical shelving slots, so you could just slot in all your games. So this one suitcase was my entire NES collection. Nice, contained, easy to access, didn't take up a lot of space, wasn't very heavy. So there's no objective reason there whatsoever for forcing me to lose that. Is that the PSP one, Ventures? Because I actually owned that already, so I can automatically say yes to that. I own both Star Oceans on the PSP. No, it was naked cruelty. I agree with that. It was just there to say that it was just petty. Like I said, it was just a little vindictive, spiteful. I don't like video games, so I'm going to reduce the access you have to video games. So she did. But that one I know I can accept, Ventures, so I'll go ahead and put that as your backup. Star Ocean First Departure. Thank you, Ventures. You excited for Wildermyth, by the way? Am I excited to get back to Streaminations? No. But, that's because I wish I could do them better. So it's nothing really against Streaminations, it's just, man... Doing the Star Trek lore run has just been an eye-opener. You know? actually sitting and watching the show with someone and pointing out things as we go is so different than the Streaminations format or the Ruminations format. And I really wish I could get away with that on Twitch, because I would totally do that. Oh, you got it, Noel. I honestly thought you forgot. But I wrote you down here. So let me pull you out of this category and put you up to this one. So that's going towards Dragon Quest 9, FF7 R2, and Breath of Fire 4. Will Streaminations be back this week? No, probably more like 5 months from now, give or take. As soon as I am at the space which I have mentally slotted for being caught up, that's when we'll start Streaminations up again. So that means the current miscellaneous block, the Zelda block, the Metroid block, the WoW block, and everything that's going to be happening that's going to be funded between now and then. Oh, don't apologize. It's fine. I'm finally at the point where I am in, like, spitting distance of being caught up. I'll take it. That has been a years out thing for a long time. Like, this year, unless something really goes wrong, we will actually reach a point of being caught up. Yeah, I was just saying, there's a pretty good chance we would be there or very close to there if not for me losing the weeks, or months, excuse me, on the apartment situation. So, you know, thanks for that apartment situation. That's fine, Sabacom. This is stuff that was going to get funded during... So if you think about it in the gap, this stuff was already going to get funded anyways during this gap. Might as well just drop the dealer's choice and get it done now. And then... chkunk. Okay, so we got these things. Let's see. Now we need... Hey, Permeus. Happy New Year. Or else. Remember, you have no choice in the matter. I can't complain, though. I mean, I can, and what my mother did was unacceptable. But at least I had a well-paying job, thanks to you guys, so that I could actually rebuild my collection when I finally wanted to. I am a bit of a collector, I'm not going to lie about that. And I do actually like having, you know, X, Y, and Z locally and physically. I know, it's weird, but I do. Yeah, exactly, Ross. That's why I listed the Zelda block in the it's gonna happen before we're caught up thing, because you know the Zelda block's gonna get funded over the next couple of months. It's, like, right there. And same thing with Pokemon Arceus. Okay, so now we go to Arad. Okay, so now we're going to the crypt. Grab some save states, because we haven't in a while. The only thing of Pokemon Arceus I've seen is my niece playing it. I know, it's weird, Renegade V. What's doubly funny is the number of physical PC games I still own is something I could probably count on one hand. There's my original,
I made it for you.
Thank you.
It has a carrot on top.
Hang on.
It does?
What is this? Is this cheese?
Yeah, that's cheese.
Hang on. Thank you so much. So, my adorable niece has brought me a slice of cheese with a carrot on top because she knows how much I like carrots. You're so sweet. Thank you.
It's a carrot sandwich.
Thank you for the carrot sandwich. Hug.
I made one for me.
Here, you want to try one of these? They're corn chips. Try one. See if you like it. Try it. What do you think?
One of these before.
Did you like them?
Yeah.
Good. You can have a couple more if you want. Only a few, though. Don't spoil your dinner. There you go. I'll give you one of these If you want one. Do you want them?
Sure.
Let's see. We've got green, yellow, orange. Looks like that's it. Which one do you want? Green, yellow, or orange?
Get orange and gray.
Here you go.
What do you do? And that?
Don't drop it. I have to get back to work. Give me a hug, please.
Backwards.
Backwards hug.
Backwards.
Backwards hug. I eat your hair. No, not my bed. Not my bed. Ah. Yeah, Starfield's pretty close to being funded too. It's probably gonna get funded.
Aaron?
Hang on 1 second. Why do you keep stealing my bed? So, my niece really is quite sweet. Problem here. Good evening, Jay Palmer. She made me this little carrot sandwich. Remembering that I love carrots. And she slathered it in ranch. For those of you not aware, in addition to the fact that I don't like ranch, I'm also violently allergic to ranch. Like, swelling mouth allergic to ranch. So that's really, really sweet of her. But she kept insisting, you know, why don't you take a bite? And I'm like, You want to hear something funny, Bregman? My beloved mother sends me bags, plural, of almonds every Christmas. Not only do I not like almonds, but it's worse than that. Nobody I know likes almonds. So they just get donated to the food kitchen every year because I have no one else to give them to. Hey, Don. If she sent me ranch, that'd be funny. I know, right, Ross? Thank you, Don. I will, as usual, put that towards Deathloop. That's a good question, Ventures. These are all very good questions. So I just got a Bluetooth dongle. Let's see if it works, shall we? Yeah, not a good sign. Let's pause that for a second. So, some of you may know, this is one of my Christmas presents, PS5 controller. Let's see if it works. New Bluetooth. I've heard it's a good controller. We'll see. I honestly am not sure it will qualify as better than the PS3 controller. Because the PS3 controller is just kind of solid, you know? And the only thing better than the PS3 controller is the Switch Joy-Cons. And even that's on a technicality. What? Your PC needs to restart to turn on your Bluetooth. Bull crap! Alright, hang on. The PS4 controller feels different, and the layout is a little bit different. But I don't know. Otherwise, obviously, I haven't really used a PS5 controller. I used it very briefly to make sure it worked. I was doing some frame-perfect tricks in Super Metroid with it to make sure that it did what it needs to do. And I succeeded. So, yay. Okay, looks like it's not working. Damn it. We'll mess with it tomorrow. I don't want to deal with that right now. So we'll go ahead and cancel out. Whatever. Moving on. Back to the PS3 controller. I am curious, what don't you like about the PS3 controller, though? No judgment, I'm just curious. I can explain what I like about it. So first of all, the D-pads are nice and punchy, or excuse me, the facing pads, the face buttons, are nice and punchy. It's good layout and good distance. I do like the analogs being right there, as opposed to, you know, offset from each other. I do like the position of select and start not being irritating for me to hit. And of course, this is the most important part by far, the D-pad. The D-pad on the PS3 is one of the best D-pads I've ever felt. Possibly the best. Like, it's way up there. And then there's the PS3 as a console, which I spit on. Patooey. The PS2 controller was a little bit cheaper in terms of the plastic, and the buttons had a tendency to stick more, and the D-pad wasn't as sharp. So the PS2 controller is basically a slightly worse PS3 controller. Still good. That's a good question, Crazy Nurse. Did you know I have 5 of these? But the other answer to that is why I have a PS5 controller sitting on my desk. I knew a dude up in Michigan who does his own custom circuitry work. And I was like, hey, if I throw some money at you, will you make me a bundle of the PS3 controllers that are functional and you know, work? And he was like, yeah, sure. And at the time, I wasn't sure any other controller would ever be as good, and it felt like a safe investment, so I went ahead and dropped the money on it. It wasn't that expensive, but still. Where am I going? Oh, okay. Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good call, but, you know, whatever. How much was it? It was 70 bucks each. I actually only have 3 Joy-Con sets, one of which is dying and the other of which is dead. So, for all intents and purposes, I have 1 Joy-Con set. So, as much as I'd praise the Joy-Cons, maybe, like, improve the quality of your hardware and construction, Nintendo. Please. You know how to put quality into your products. Please do. I'm curious what the Switch 2, which is totally coming out in the next quarter, will have for controllers. You know, I was just thinking, you know what the most irritating thing about the Switch 2 is going to be? Managing to get a hold of a copy of it. So, I've talked before about how, from a marketing and economics and industry and supply chain perspective, it's most likely that the Switch 2 will be coming out this coming quarter, right? Oh, sorry. Well, one of the theories as to why that hasn't happened yet, even though most of the pieces are in position for it, is that they are stockpiling just copies of the Switch 2 so they can try to meet the demand when it hits. I have no idea if that's true or not, it's just a theory. Nina is just now level 20, jeez. I'm curious what concept you've seen, J. Palmer, because I haven't seen anything. At least nothing I would consider reliable. That's a good question, Crazy Norse, but the truthful answer is it depends on what you're after. Because the Steam Deck is going to be useful for a greater variety of games. Pretty much across the board, right? Because it's a laptop, so you can play PC games on it. But if you want to play Nintendo games and some third-party stuff, well, then go for the Switch. That looks terrible, J. Palmer, and I hope that's not true. If you already own a Switch one, it depends on a big question mark, which we don't have an answer for yet. And that is backwards compatibility. Having said that, again, it depends on what you're after. Where are we going? We're going Gant. A DS cannot run 3DS games, no. There's no forwards compatibility. Okay. So let's get him a heal. A 2DS can play 3DS games because a 2DS is a 3DS. Where am I going? It's okay, we have Gobi, so we can go wherever. One of the weird things with the Switch, too, is they could go a lot of directions with it. They'll probably have some stupid gimmick, they always do. They could dual screen it, they could backwards compatibility it, they could just try to make a Switch but better hardware. They could try to go more into handheld or more into console. Or both, they could make two versions of the same hardware. One that's designed to be handheld and one that's designed to be hooked up to the TV. Like, think about it from the engineer's perspective. You've been handed the reins of making the Switch 2. You have a lot of options where you can go with that. Ah, whatever. What I do? First, I'd make the Joy-Cons better. The Joy-Con is the best controller, not because it's the highest quality, but because the fact that it can frickin' split. Make that, like, make the level of quality of, like, the Xbox SX controller or the PS5 controller, but split, and I'm happy. Other than that, probably Renegade Duty. And yeah, probably the right call there. Yeah, get rid of the freaking drift. Get rid of the can't connect problem and get rid of the battery issue. Okay, so where am I going? So there's literal chunks of, I believe, plastic that essentially hold the analog sticks upright. Over usage, that plastic wears down. So, like, imagine it's like this, but because the plastic on the left side has drifted, now the analog is just over here. And so it's always taking input as if it's left. It's an astonishingly easy problem to fix, even at home by yourself, but it is also a persistent problem. And Nintendo has been in lawsuits about that for quite a while. Oh yeah, and when I say overuse, I don't mean like all the time. I mean like that can just be a thing that happens. I've had some people have drift happen like a couple of weeks after getting a new controller. I've gotten very lucky with my main controllers, and I don't have any drift issues yet. Yes, J. Palmer, but with an asterisk. So, It's really, really easy to get one Joy-Con working on the PC. Getting the two working in conjunction requires a huge hassle, which I've never succeeded at. I have been told it's gotten better over the years, because I haven't tried in a couple of years. And I've got my PS3 controller set up, and I'm happy with that. You know another way that Final Fantasy IV is objectively better than this game? In this game, who's in front changes how the game works. But in FF4, you could change who's in front by a simple button press. Why do I have to go into the menu, hit A, go over several times, hit A, hit B, in order to change who's in front of my party? Just let me hit L or R, game. Sorry. Oh, that sucks, Crazy Norse. I'm sorry. Of course, it's a bunch of frickin' these guys in here. I can't... Karn is just wrecking everything. It's ridiculous. Yeah, FF4 is one step away from being a NES game, and still feels more like a SNES game in several ways. But, as I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy was kind of ahead of their time at when FF came out, you know? 4, 5, and 6. They were really pushing the envelope. You take, or I'm still amused by that. The Dark Horde takes what it needs. You know another weird thing about the Breath of Fire series? They really like boss fights. Like, there's a lot of boss fights in Breath of Fire games. And occasionally it's just like some random thing, like, hey, now you're fighting a fish. Just out of nowhere. Sorry, just random thought as we're going through here. And here's a giant horseman for some reason. Okay. I should be taking drinks. Here we are. Yeah, because why not? I mean, it's, yeah, okay, sure. I ain't here to argue. Yeah, sometimes it really does feel like they just rolled on the random encounter table and that's your boss fight. Now, we actually know what they really go through, because I've talked about this before. What would usually happen is the concept artists and the render guys, which is either the sprite work in older games or the actual people who design the models in more modern games, they would come up with more monsters than they need. And so they would attempt to use them. So, if you ever wonder why, in the middle of Final Fantasy VIII, when you're going through a desperate timed event where you must escape as missiles are on approach and are going to destroy your entire home, you suddenly fight two random squid things for no reason. That's why. Or hell, Breath of Fire 3, when you get to the, it's like, alright, We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go through this, we're gonna, I forget what you're doing. It's something about a boat on a beach. And all of a sudden, oh my god, boss fight! With, like, a fish monster. For some reason. And yeah, there's just Cerberus hanging out in the middle of Galbadia Garden. For some reason. Man, I don't know. That was it, hulling in the wreckage. Yeah. Because that's actually a plot point in that game. Perfectly logical. Anyways, we're about to fight a toad. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Do I look like I know what we're doing here? Okay, bad question. Oh man, let's not even get into Gar. I like Breath of Fire 3 from memory, although I did put the game down twice. And as a consequence, I've only finished it once. Now, I think you know the first quit point, Ross, because I think I've told you. But can anyone in chat who's familiar with Breath of Fire 3 tell me when my first quit point was in Breath of Fire 3? It was actually pretty early in. The arena is a good guess, but no. I don't remember if it's the first boss or not. Because I don't remember the order of the bosses exactly. It's the Haunted Mansion. It's gonna give that away. And that freaking dungeon. It's apparently the second boss. God. That dungeon and that boss fight were just irritating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Ray dies, that dungeon is just nope. Like a hard nope. I agree with what Bragwin said, personally. BoF 3 starts extremely slowly. I don't mind that. You know me, I like a slow boil. But the problem is BoF 3 also has absolutely no problems beating you in the face if you don't know what you're doing. I mentioned the mansion. There are several of my friends who've played through BoF 3 who've never beaten that game because they hit the mansion, Ray died, and they didn't know it, but that was game. They couldn't actually beat the dungeon at that point. Oh man, no, like Karn has very quickly become my heavy hitter, Crazimers. Hey Seth. Así. ¿Y tú? Oh god, yeah, that fight. Ugh. Yeah, BoF 3 likes to... So, BoF 3 is probably the hardest of the 3 BoF games. Because BoF 1, if you have a walkthrough, you can crush it. Like, you could be ridiculously overpowered. BoF 2, if you have a walkthrough, you could just crush it and be ridiculously overpowered. BoF 3, if you have a walkthrough, you can be at the level you're supposed to be for the game. And you see the problem. And if you're wondering, no, I did not have a walkthrough. It wasn't until my third time I played BoF 3, the only time I beat BoF 3, that I finally looked up a freaking walkthrough. By this point, GameFAQs was out. And then, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. What the... Okay, that's weird, comma. It didn't tell me you texted me, period. I'm sorry, period. I'm glad the appointments went fine, exclamation mark. Now, I shouldn't say if BoF 3 is crushable or not, because I'm not as familiar with BoF 3 as the others. But by memory, no. You know how we talk about how you can break certain games over your knee? Like Final Fantasy VIII or BoF 2? Or, God, I don't know, I can't even think of another example off the top of my head. FF5, good example. There's no cracking BoF 3 over your knee that I'm aware of. Oh, GameFAQs was a game changer, and I mean that with legitimate sincerity. Like, obviously strategy guides were neat and all and have been around for a while, and of course there's always, you know, what the kids on the playground told you. But the thing is, I think a lot of people don't understand, if they weren't there for it, that the information from strategy guides and the kids on the playground was notoriously inaccurate. Like, it was semi-common to the point of normal that people would give inaccurate information. And again, I stress, even for officially licensed strategy guides, they would still get crap wrong. And we don't know. So yeah, the era of GameFAQs was a game changer. It really was. Being able to actually look up something, how mechanics work, where to find such and such, guides for specific mini-games or mechanics of a game, that added to my enjoyment of video gaming in a way I don't even have words for. That's probably sad, but it's still true. You came back, huh? You've got guts. But that's not enough! Sure. Sweet, Mr. Red. I can't wait to get Puff Puff from Sten. Ow. I just noticed my party setup here is 3 attackers and 1 healer buffer. Like that's my lineup right now. Is there a downside to the dragon form? So while in dragon form, all you can do is attack. You are elementally locked to whatever element you pick. It sets your stats to a specific amount, and your damage does a static amount. So at a certain point, your damage will outpace the dragon's damage. Also, dragon forms tend to be expensive, and Ryu has hysterically low mana up. Like, his HP does not go up very well at all. I'd say the persistent thing, Venters. As we've already kind of talked about, the dragons kind of get worse each game. Like, in BoF 1, dragons are legit. In BoF 2, dragons are okay. In BoF 3, dragons are either crap or very useful, depending on if you have a walkthrough. And honestly, even in 3, you have to get to a certain point where you get certain genes before dragons are worthwhile at all. And then the ultimate dragon form, Agni, also kind of has some other limitations. Like, you can't use Agni if anybody in your party is either dead or has any status effect, which, of course, death counts as a status effect, so that makes sense. We don't talk about Dragon Quarter. Although, it's real talk, I haven't actually played all the way through Dragon Quarter. Like, I've never beaten it. And I probably never will at this point. Dragon Quarter is a Breath of Fire game. It's more of a Breath of Fire game than Breath of Fire 6 is. Whatever that's worth. Yeah, by the way, for anybody in chat thinking there was a Breath of Fire 6, I just want you to know, thank you. The less people who know that that game exists, the better. Yes, Crazy Norse. I can't go on! Ugh. Ox, you're alive! I wouldn't have made it here without their help. It's too bad you didn't get here earlier, Ryu. The dragons have taken the weapons and prisoners to Nabal in the north. Ox's wife is among the prisoners! Nabal is well known for its security. Nabal has very tight security. It'll be difficult to get in. This is Winland. Perhaps he could give us some advice. Let's go north to Nabal. Okay. $10,000 years. Aw, you will be missed, Evo. Although, why is Gobi in the party? Why did the game auto-unmerge Karn on me? I don't even remember that happening. Gobi, why are you in my party, for that matter? Well, anyways, we're going to re-merge, because there is literally 0 negatives to being merged. Okay. So what's your negative, Ross? You haven't told me the negative. I can think of plenty of negatives for FF6, but I'm curious what you'd come up with. Here's a cool dragon form. Don't use it. But no. Do not give in to the dragon. I can't believe Breath of Fire 3 is an 8-hour game. Actually, I totally can. There are a couple of games I've talked about which resist speedrunning because they have long, unskippable cutscenes where the text crawls slowly or the animations take a while. You know, there's usually something that just drags out the whole game. Xenogears is a good example of that. Also, Final Fantasy X without the patch that allows you to skip cutscenes. I don't think I would call that a negative, Ross. I mean, if we're calling that a negative, that's opening a huge door on negatives for every RPG ever. I'm not saying it's great, but yeah. I would rather give positives for the games that bypass that issue than negatives to the games that don't. Vinegar minigame, oh jeez. Could have been worse. You could have been stuck at the desert. Which, by the way, was my second quit point. That one's easy. Anybody could tell you that one. Of course I quit at the desert. It's the desert. That's why the final time I played with GameFAQs. Because, hey, guess what got me through the desert? So I'm guessing it wasn't the desert or the haunted mansion. The problem is there's actually quite a few, like, just gut punch moments, gameplay-wise, in Breath of Fire 3. So I'm not sure which one would be it for you. I remember getting stuck at the cave where you have to use Pico. Let's see, what else? There's the aforementioned beach fight, which just beat the snot out of me. Oh, the ship part. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, I'm with that. Nothing indicates this person is here, or that you have to go interact with them, by the way. Or that you have to have a boomerang. So just to be clear about this, let's be clear. In order to progress the plot, you have to go down into the depths of the crypt dungeon again. Nothing indicates you have to go down there, but you have to go all the way back down there, knock out the boomerang with Ox. And then once you have the boomerang, you have to go take it to you have to go to Gant, free the people. Then once you've freed the people, get them to smith it. Then you have to go talk to this guy. This is all mandatory for progression, by the way. A Grimfowl is a tame bird until you steal its eggs. Then it goes berserk. You could use it as a weapon. The egg strategy works. Just use your head and egg. Okay. Now where do you think we go? By the way, I want to stress what we're about to do here. So, we just went to Gant, and then went underwater, and then went through an entire dungeon to rescue the people to go back to Gant in order to go back to the crypt, actually. But then we could go here, repair the thing, go to the old man, and then we have to go back through the dungeon we just cleared. No difference in the dungeon, other than the fact that we already got the treasure last time. We're just doing the dungeon a second time. Not good, Spartan. Not good. Hell, even Boff 2, I can think of 2 story positives from moments right off the top of my head. Which I suppose doesn't sound like much, but I'm just pointing that out to point out that, you know, even Boff 2 has a good stories. Occasionally. So I'm sure Boff 3 will do fine on that front. I mean, Lufia 2 does have a lot of dead air in the middle. So, shrug. Still a good game. Still scored well, but, you know, that dead air period is just, I don't know. Oh, that's a damn good outro. No arguments there. Good! Exclamation mark. I'm always glad to know you still have books to go through, period. I was just staring at the map trying to figure that out, Bragwin. Near as I can tell, though, no. We're just going through the dungeon again. I'm gonna laugh if I'm actually going the wrong way. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've had a bad walkthrough. My favorite super form is the second to last one, which you only get for the sole purpose of getting the last one. It's like, thanks. Thanks for that. Honestly, yeah. Lufia 2 would be Sunshine Syndrome, if not for the fact that it nails it in the outro. Oh, I still recommend Lufia 2 to people. If they can get a hold of it. Fresh reminder, Lufia 2 is console locked. Still. It wouldn't surprise me if it is the same sound font, Alchemist. Sunshine Syndrome, which we discussed recently during the LGAs, refers to a situation in which you... I don't think it's on the Lorien page yet. You're playing through a game, and it's really enjoyable up to a specific point in the game. And that point at which you should probably just go ahead and put the game down. Where that point is varies pretty wildly, but there's always that point where it's like, yeah, let's just put this game down. Good night, Jay Palmer. Have a good day. Night. Evening. Yeah, like Mario Sunshine. Hence the name. Yeah, Mario Sunshine, you should do the first level, second level, probably the third level. But pretty much the moment you hit that theme park, you're good. You should put the game down. My actual favorite example of that is Number One Nights 1's Vanilla campaign, which has a really solid and strong first act. And then as soon as you get past Act 1, you really should just go ahead and put the game down. Oh, hundreds of games have Sunshine Syndrome. Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 7. I just had another example. Super Mario Brothers 1. The original. Hey, Czar. Listen, Crazy Horse, it is my fault. I can accept that. World of Warcraft. See, WoW is kind of like Lufia 2, and then it's like, ugh, but then it's like, ah! However, unlike Lufia 2, you can skip the dip in WoW. Am I ready for this? I think I am. Where am I going? Oh, I went the wrong way. God dang it. Ugh. Aha, applicable. Oh god, Bravely Default. Yeah, Bravely Default is definitely Sunshine Syndrome, because the moment you've reached a certain point in the game, I'm going to say that as neutrally as I possibly can, you should probably just put the game down. It is not really worth playing from that point onwards. I even get what they were going for, and I hate it. I like how Karna's just fuse right now. That's a lot of bones. Boss fight. Another random boss fight. Because, gosh darn it, we need one more boss fight. Jesus, Karn. You realize we have to review it someday, Ross, right? Like, that's pretty much set in stone. It's low priority. We got a lot of other things I'd rather review first, but we have to review the DS Lufia someday, especially since I own it. So I don't have to worry about procuring a copy. Oh, that sounds good, comma. I'm surprised you were able to get some with the lines they usually have, period. I had leftover Taco Bell myself, period. Like, it's gonna happen. I really do like that sphere look, yeah. Oh well, no judgment. I'm into it. Secret of Mana did the same thing, now that I think about it. Ow! I mean, Bravely Default is a weirdly good game with a terrible story. Like, and it's hard for me to even exaggerate how bad Bravely Default story is. Like, imagine the worst combinations of boring and nonsensical with bad dialogue and disinteresting voice acting and just weird, awful writing. It's not great. Well, now we learn shield. I wasn't going to mention the repetition because, you know, spoilers. But yeah, repetitive as hell. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They decided to give one of their characters a verbal tick, which is almost always a bad idea. In this case, the verbal tick, which is voice acted, by the way, is murder, G-R-G-R-G-R-G-R. For some reason. I don't know. I don't know. This is the castle of the Empire. You have no business here. No, I do not, Ross. Why didn't that count? Hey, Trafin. Give me 1 second here. Yes, Pillars of Snow. By all accounts. There we go. Now it's following me. No, it's not. Oh, yeah. Well, don't that just be... Yeah, Japanese really have this thing for verbal tics. I'm not sure why. Dilly-dally, shilly-shally. I mean, yeah. The tick I've ever heard of was the usage of it in the world of the Final Fantasy, Thank you, Trafin. Always appreciate you. Well, Golgrim, And that's going towards the Zelda block, the Resident Evil block, and the Kingdom Hearts block. Phone hugs to the appointment having, burger having mum, exclamation mark. What the? It just... Ah! So anyways, can I, I know, Crazy Norse, because they're stupid! And have no idea what they're doing! And want a GTA, and it's never happening. Give up! Sorry. Hi. Square, I said it earlier today, Square needs to accept that they're a AA company, and lean into that. Stop trying to be a AAA company and screwing over your everything. So I'm just pulling up a map. At this point, honestly, yeah, I'm just pulling up a map. We haven't even reached the part I remember most about this game yet. That's the funny thing. Okay, so we are here. We want to go... we want to do this, first of all. Honestly, ditto, Walker. There's no shame in being indie. There's no shame in being AA. And AAA... I'd love to say AAA is on the way out, but actually, it would be more accurate to say that AAA is shifting focus. Have you noticed that? AAA doesn't really cater to us anymore. You know, gamers. To put that as bluntly as I can. Instead, AAA focuses more on people who aren't really video game players, where this isn't their primary hobby. It's going for big, flashy spectacle and trying to make as much money squeezed out of a product as is possible, while also spending way too much money on it. And yeah, it's all leaning towards whatever the current trend is. And yeah. I don't have time to deal with you. Wow, we're already at the boss battle. Jeez. You've destroyed the castle. We must punish you. Oh no, they're gonna turn into... slimes. I've already predicted, Colgrim, that the only reason Dragon Age 4 will come out at all is because Baldur's Gate 3 was a financial success. Oh my god, they are Garfield slimes. Oh my god, now I can't unsee it. Ow. Ow! Oh my god! They just straight up killed Ox. Okay. Please don't hit Nina. Thank you. Yeah, I'm starting to think I'm a little under-leveled from where the game expects me to be at this point. Probably because I haven't been running around in a circle. You know, grinding. No, Sub-Zero. We don't even have a release window for the Mass Effect, for Mass Effect 5 or for Dragon Age 4. Ow. Ow. Ow! It's a release quarterly report. I mean, we just saw one of those. What was that stupid game called? Yeah, I know, Hazardous. Thank God for that. One of the things I've seen said several times about Bobby Kotick is, like, why are you happy he's leaving? He's still got his billions of dollars, right? And it's like, yeah, but who cares? I mean, the dude was already so rich he'll never spend his money for the rest of his life. And he's already on his way out of his life because he's already well past middle age, so... oh no, he got another drop he could put in the bucket. Don't mistake me, that still sucks, because it still means that, you know, that money can't go to someone or something that needs it more, but... it's not like he's gonna benefit from it. Oh, this is gonna bother me now. What was the name of that game? Whatever. I give up. I give up. Whatever. Oh, I'm glad he's leaving too. Let me be very, very clear. What's that saying? The fish rots from the head, I believe. Like, to pin every problem at Active Blizzard on one person is stupid. But he was absolutely a contributor to that company being awful. So, screw him. Alright, let's go ahead and try to spend some time getting Ox back up. Screw it, I'll blow a life too, I got him. Yeah, no kidding, Colgrim. It's really funny, I actually predicted a while ago that if they wanted the easiest possible brownie points they could, all they had to do was get rid of Bobby Kotick. And everyone would be like, yay! And lo and behold, everyone's been like, yay! Ding dong, the witch is dead. TMNT loader? I don't know. I don't know. Alright, so real boss time. Behold its power. Oh, that's a good question, Hazardous. I don't know. He should. He totally should. Ah, Bucky O'Hare. I should have known that. But as I've said already in Discord, where Blizzard... Let me say that more accurately now. Where Blizzard goes with this, we won't really know for a couple of years. I'll be keeping my ears to the ground, because this could go a lot of different ways. We'll see. Still don't have an AoE heal, by the way. I mean, I do think it's a chance. Absolutely, Blitchful. I do think it's possible. I will also say that I don't think the next expansion will really have anything to do with the Microsoft merger, because the way they do behind-the-scenes development... Oh no, the General's gone to destroy Prima. Why? The way they do behind-the-scenes development, they've already been working on the next expansion for WoW for probably about a year at this point. So, we won't really see until the next WoW expansion how that's going. All of my soldiers have been defeated. I'll seek revenge after I destroy Prima. Why are you destroying the trade town? That's funny, Ross. Prima's in danger. The secret weapon's a torpedo! We still have a chance. Let's go see the guild owner in Prima. Agreed, Hazardous. Like, 6 more months to go. We'll have peace before our baby is born. Oh my god, Raven. You didn't destroy the weapon. We need Wisdom's sorceress. Ask the man upstairs for information. Okay. Once again, a cutscene unmerged me for some reason. Please stop doing that, game. Yeah, that's true, Colgrim. Who disturbs my sleep? What are you talking about? The sorceress? Yeah, I like FF8, dude. The sorceress won't like to be woken, but you can find her in Wisdom. You can enter the town if you have the statue. Look under the bed. Listen, Savacom. Alright, what am I doing now? By the way, there's a ship on the way here to torpedo the town. And, we're going and doing a side quest. Just wanted to point that out. That's a good point, Blinterful. We'll get there. Ha ha! Where'd the ship go? Listen, Savacom. I just... speaking of which, I need to give a story negative. Yep, time to do a side quest. Hang on. Red light. Listen, the cacti are really, really powerful underwater. That is a good question, Gelato. And that is like the million-dollar question. Or billion-dollar question, as the case may be. In reality land, I would say the biggest hope is that Microsoft is going to start drawing money from King, which, let's be honest, makes a ton of money, and more money than most of the other stuff at Active Blizzard. And we'll try to make Blizzard do their own thing. It's not like Blizzard games don't sell, and it's not like Blizzard games don't make money, but those will be the games they make, and King will be the ones that make the money. You know, everyone in chat. Who or what is King? Thank you. Alright, I think there's a decent chance they'll go that route, though. We'll see. So now we have the statue. So we can finally go in here. The sorceress who sealed off the power of Miria is sleeping here. Our leader's deep inside the palace. Yes, Crazy Norse. Correct. King does mobage. Yeah, Miria is just a freaking dick. Correct. King is Candy Crush. That's not all they have, but yeah, that's their biggest moneymaker. King makes mobage. And mobage makes money. I know why, and I don't care. I misread that for a second, Ross. I thought you said Miria is so bad, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, I literally have the chart to prove it. Fresh reminder, for anybody who didn't see it earlier, that red number is how much mobage is making right now. Just take that in for a minute. Savor it. Really, really drink it in. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Red. Don't actually do that. That's a terrible idea. Sorry, I'm pulling up a map here. Here we go. King does mobage, put very, very simply. There is one, and only one bright side to the fact that mobage and general garbage make tons of money. And I mean that. Would anyone like to know what that bright side is? I mean, the people who get paid aren't the people who should be paid, so I'm going to withhold. Funding other stuff, only occasionally. Entry level. Actually true. I'll give you that one has this. I'll give you a second benefit, but no. The real benefit is it's serving as a weird filter for game development. There's been a weird kind of... Okay, so if you want to make video games, you make video games. If you want to make money, you make mobage. And that's kind of slowly becoming a more and more enforced thing over the last several years. And that means a lot more developers, both at the indie level and at the AA level, have been pushing towards making games because, shocker, they want to make games. Now, that's not a perfect system, and there's other issues in the way there, but it is something that has become more and more of a trend. I actually personally know 2 people in real life who have jobs making mobage to pay the bills, so in their spare time, they can make games. Now, they probably won't make a ton of money off of their games, but again, that's not really the point, is it? You take life. What the hell does this do? It does literally nothing. The average lifespan of mobage. About a month. That's not a joke, by the way. I have seen that several times, yes, Chaluto. I mean, it could be heavily argued. I know, right, Prima? It could be heavily argued that GTA 5 and GTA 6 are both quadruple A titles. Like, the amount of funding and time and effort that was put into both of those games is kind of insane to think about. And Ubisoft has been pushing for that for years now. Unsuccessfully. I can't remember the last time I saw a Raid Shadow Legends advert. Why is Nina dead? Jesus, I wasn't paying attention. I was reading Czar's question. Czar, you killed Nina! How could you? Jesus, these guys hurt. Yeah, she got hit 2 times. Enough said. I would say, do you have a pot, Ross? Or, a pressure cooker, which is what I use for making rice. I have to think about that for a second. Remind me to buy some herbs when I'm next in town. A pressure cooker basically is a rice cooker. I would recommend going with that. 2 parts water to 1 part rice. Boom. It has a rice button on it, for God's sakes. Oh, whoops. I'm going to go up first. Okay. Czar says, how do you want to do experience gain? I know you're going to hate this answer, but the answer is, it depends. Having said that, I personally prefer to do, oh god, what's it called? There's a term for it. There's a specific development term for it, where you hit certain points in the story, and that gives you experience or levels based on the fact that you have reached that point in the story. And I cannot remember what that's called. But I prefer that. Milestone, thank you. Milestone leveling. I personally prefer milestone leveling, but if you want to have combat, so the downside of milestone leveling is you cannot grind. There is no, oh no, I'm too low level for this fight, I have to go level. Because it's not possible. There's no other experience sources. So, that's the downside of that approach. It does mean you have to, it means you have to go and... There we go. It means you have to... Endure Colgrim. Colgrim has no idea what he's talking about. It means you have to design your balancing better. It's more incumbent upon you to make sure that you're... Like, for example, if BoF 1 only gave away experience at milestones, I would be screwed. Because the boss and difficulty curve of this game are very badly designed. And I've already jotted down a negative for it. So, just point Point proven, right there. God, I can't talk right now. So having said that, if you don't want to deal with that extra work and extra hassle, that's fine, and that's understandable. In that case, I would go with visible encounters. A well-designed visible encounter system is the kind of thing I give positives for. But nothing would ever make me give a positive to a random encounter system. Make sense? Part of that's because a properly designed visible encounter system has design to it. Whereas random encounters do not. Being able to adjust the frequency of random encounters is a nice quality of life feature. It's the kind of thing that I will end up giving positives for when it comes to the Pixel remasters. You can also do both. You could gain experience at certain set points, and you can also gain experience from, like, overworld encounters, right? Basically, whatever you do, don't do Pillars of Eternity 1, which had trash encounters, which gave nothing. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Now you might think, oh, that sounds like the worst trash design ever. Nope. Paper Mario Sticker Star has the worst trash design ever. Because enemies in Sticker Star don't give experience. There is no such thing. They don't give enough stickers or any stickers, which is ammo in that game. And they don't give enough gold to buy stickers. So every trash encounter you fight in Sticker Star is actually losing you power. Like, you are functionally de-leveling every time you fight something in Sticker Star. It's awful. God, I hate that game so much. Every now and again, someone's like, listen, you're too harsh about Sticker Star. It's not that bad. And those people are wrong. Any questions? This character is being simulated. That's a tough one, Crazy Norse. I don't mind peaceful solutions giving experience. Indeed, that's a good thing. But one of the old standbys of game design is that doing the evil thing gives you better gameplay rewards, and doing the good thing gives you better story rewards. Now, I don't know if that's the right option or if that's good, bad, or in between, but it is a commonly held idea. And so if we were to adhere to that idea, you could keep the same experience for both, but maybe you get a better weapon, or you could skip a side quest, or you gain some new special ability by virtue of doing the evil half, aka probably fighting your way through the battle instead of talking your way through. Listen, talking a boss to death. I mean, that's just DOS too at that point. Okay, so there's Blue. A lot of people argue she's overpowered in this game. I'm not sure I agree with that, but let's go kill her. I mean, join her. Whatever. You are the warrior destined to be a hero. Did you come to disturb the sleep of the sorceress? You must prove your worth. Let's see what you're made of. Oh yeah, flickering thing. So flickering warning. I should probably do one buff for this fight. Wait, what? I thought this was an AoE. I guess not. Oh, whatever. Ugh, whatever. I agree, Sean. I mean, I've already bought the damn thing, so... Listen, if there's something I've learned over doing this job for over 10 years, it's that whenever you think you found the bottom, it can go down from there. Like, the amount of bad can get is honestly impressive. I mean, someday I hope we find a game worse than Secret of the Stars. I don't know if we ever will. I mean, the only game on the books that even is in punching range is Ride to Hell Retribution, and I don't know. I don't know if that's going to get down there. No, Crazy Norse. I don't think we could go down from FF14 1.0, but I haven't officially reviewed that, so... I was just referring to the golden number score. No, Colgrim. Mostly because I don't remember it. I know, Scott K. Bar. This is definitely a game that's not going to get a kit positive. Oh my god. Well, has Ride to Hell on the list? I don't understand the question, Game Geek. Why wouldn't it be? You guys want me to review bad games all the time. Why wouldn't we review one of the most legendary bad games of all time? Of course we're going to review Ride to Hell Retribution. Hell, we're reviewing this game. Next, we're reviewing Both 2, which is going to be even worse. I don't remember it, Savicom. You know how many years it's been since that? Oh, because that's going to be a treat, Ross. That's going to be dessert for me. That is going to be a game where we sit down and we pull out a hammer and we bring that hammer down on Ride to Hell Retribution's knees. Yeah, exactly, Crazy Norse. Like, for example, I could bash the hell out of the game we're playing right now, but I don't really want to. That would just feel mean-spirited. This is a first game. Several people find this game to be beloved, and it was it was an earnest and honest approach to enter into a genre, which I think failed in several ways, but nevertheless, this isn't the kind of game I just take a baseball bat to, right? There's something cathartic about a game you can just take a baseball bat to. Yeah, like Mega Man X7, Secret of the Stars, Devil May Cry 2, or Ride to Hell Retribution. Yeah, it's obvious to see why people would like this game. I don't think it's particularly good, to be completely honest with you. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I'm with it, like I get it. X6 was a negative score, I'm almost positive. Don't quote me on that, though. Oh, this is not getting the sushi tech. Ooh. X8. I wanted X8 to knock it out of the park. I was disappointed that it was merely okay. I suppose that's on me. What's the worst game that I love? Well, you said excluding the Final Fantasies. I could see STO, yeah. STO's not a bad pick there. Toro isn't a bad pick either. So I've got STO, Toro. My other answer was going to be Final Fantasy XIV, by the way. So STO, Toro, Final Fantasy XIV. Honestly, yes, Spore is probably a game that will probably score net negative, to be honest. I know, right, Noctis? Star Wars Rebellion. And, well, I wouldn't put this under the love category. I would go ahead and go with Evo, the SNES RPG that I can't think of the full name of right now. The best game I can't stand. Well, at the moment, that'd be Total Warhammer 3. I'd have to think about that, though. Sorceress, the descendant of the heroes, arrived. Please wake up. Still no response. We'll have to resort to Plan B. Oh yeah, you know what? Baldur's Gate 3. Ah! What's going on here? Our duty is to protect the sorceress. We have accomplished our goal. Please be nice to the sorceress. We will go now. Goodbye. You better have a very good reason for waking me. What's that? You want to sink the vessels of the Dark Dragons? Blue, what are you doing? Take this with you. Ox receives the old egg. Put it in a warm place like a volcano. It'll hatch and the bug inside will cause a typhoon. I'm going back to sleep. Okay. That's up to them more than me, Colgrim. I have no desire to replay that game. I'm ready, Ross. I'm ready! Look, Ross. I didn't make the game. Oh, Dungeon Master Mode. Again, that's up to them, not me. Dinner. dinner. Part of the problem I had with Baldur's Gate 3, and I've talked about this before, is it's too gross. Like, it's... I tried to talk about this during the run, and I always failed to really get across the point, because I don't really have, like, just a solid word to describe Baldur's Gate 3. So you know how some stories are like, so we want to do a story about, you know, such and such. And then some other stories are like, we want to do a story about the seedy, dark underbelly of horror and nightmare, where people murder each other regularly on the streets, and where creatures seep into their veins and eat their brains, and just... Like, there's this appeal factor, which I've noticed over the years, which occasionally games, shows, and movies lean into, where they're just trying to appeal to the crowd who wants the... whatever word applies here, thing for that, right? And that's Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is that to a T. Yeah, you start off on a freaking Nautiloid ship. That's where you begin the adventure. Your first helpful compatriot comes out of a dude's skull. And then you add in the Underdark elements and the ancient curses and the horribly abusive deity stuff and just everything with the murder cult. The whole game is just ugh. And I don't have a better word for that other than ugh. And I don't like that. I've never liked stories that focus in on the worst aspects of life. I suppose that technically qualifies as dark fantasy, but there are several dark fantasy games I rather enjoy, like Dragon Age Origins. So I don't know. Okay, so let's go to Gant. Yeah, this whole side quest, by the way, that ship is still heading to Prima. A location that canonically we've already been to, by the way. Like, they're still just on their way to Prima to blow up the whole town with a torpedo. I honestly prefer low fantasy as a term. That's what people mean when they usually say dark fantasy. They mean low fantasy. Lower tier, more grounded, more down to earth. Usually a bit dirtier, literally and metaphorically as a consequence. But still, low fantasy, right? Yeah, less apocalyptic stuff everywhere. No floating cities that you can just kind of park. Game of Thrones would be low, for example, to use my own terminology. Lord of the Rings would be low in the modern age. In the first age, Lord of the Rings would qualify more as high. But then again, that's a major thematic point of Lord of the Rings, is that things have been getting more and more down to earth as time goes on. Trek would qualify as high, yes. Whereas something like The Expanse would qualify as low. Battlestar Galactica is a weird one, because it's mostly low, with a couple of exceptions. But I would still qualify Battlestar Galactica as low. Games where the bad guy wins in the ending. I'm not sure I can think of any of those. Can anyone think of one of those? Yeah, B5 is mostly low, but the high are kind of in the background. Hey, Reggie. I don't think Kefka counts, no. God of War 3. A game where you play the gag guy. Crusader Kings 3. Yeah. I'll give you Free Space 2. That's a good pick. Drakengard. Yeah. I'll give you that one too. That's true, the Demonic Horde do win canonically after Warcraft 1. So how many of you like difficulty cliffs? Map here. Oh yeah, Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 would also qualify. Good examples. Kingdom Hearts 2 did have a really good difficulty cliff. It's actually one of my favorite difficulty cliffs in gaming. It's also one of the only good ones I can think of off the top of my head. Like, I'm sure there's other ones, just can't think of any off the top of my head. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 had a wake-up call boss. In fact, it had 3 of them. Oh god, the Omega runs. Also the final dungeon, FF10 in general. FF10... It's funny how many Final Fantasy games fall under Sunshine Syndrome. Let's see, let's think about this. Let's skip the first 3 for a second. So we've got FF4... no, FF4 is worth going all the way through. 5 is worth going all the way through, and 6 is worth going all the way through. 7 is not. 8 is. 9... 9's a weird one. I'll give 9 a pass. Then we've got 10, which definitely has Sunshine Syndrome. 10-2, which absolutely has Sunshine Syndrome. 12, which has Sunshine Syndrome. 13. 13-3. 15. 14 actually has Mystic Quest effect, which is the inverse. The game starts off crap, and then just sort of suddenly becomes great. I can think of 2 points in which I would put down 10. Now, they're very far in 10's favor. One is when you get to the final dungeon. The Inside of Sin is an awful, terrible final dungeon. The other is doing any of the optional stuff at the exact same point I just mentioned. You know, you say that, Colgrim, but I don't agree. That's just time wasted. I don't remember if I've added it yet, Crazy Norse. I thought about it, but I was really busy this long dark. So I haven't checked yet. You take 3,000 gold. I'm telling you, we need that tax collector RPG. And she got 100% 10. No! You enter something really sad, Ross? This is just purely personal opinion, but I would even say that if you just count FF10's ending, it still has a bit of Sunshine Syndrome. Because there's the first part of the ending, which is really, really, really good. And then there's the second part, which I usually just kind of turn off the game rather than watch. Yeah, Scott Kibar has a good point. Where the hell? There they are. Okay, that's a heal. Yeah, sounds like I didn't add it then. Thank you for checking, Crazy Norse. Ten's such a weird game for me. Because if you asked me, do I like FF10's soundtrack, I would say no, because I don't. But there are two songs in that game I like a lot. And you know both of them. To Xanarkand and the ending song, the first ending song. We'll see, Ross. We'll see when we get there. Did you... That sucks. You're just slowing this down. Listen, what can I do for you, Pillars of Snow? You're hunting the... Oh, I know the song you're talking about. What's funny is 10-2's title song is actually pretty damn good. And tonally would fit the 10-2 that we thought we were going to get, but doesn't fit the actual 10-2 at all. It's wild. Favorite Chrono Trigger song? I'll let you guess. What do you think is my favorite Chrono Trigger song? I agree, 1,000 Words is a legitimate good song. No argument. Please stop killing Nina. So, there are 3 songs from Chrono Trigger which qualify as my favorite. But Pillars of Snow guessed one of them, so I'll give it to them. The second to last Lavos fight song. The one that you fight the robot machine for. The one that was done by Uematsu. The other 2 are the Undersea Palace and the Kingdom of Zeal theme. The old egg has grown larger in the volcano. That was quick. How did we... You're back already? What's the hurry? I wanted some more sleep. The world is in chaos? You need my help? Okay, let's go. And I believe that's our last party member. That was a hell of a thing. Just don't question it, Shaludo. I have seen it. Yes, Mr. Red. I do not have it, though. You must be tired. You can rest until they make their move. Why are we still waiting for them to attack? They left before us to get here. Oh, I'm wrong. We're missing one person. I always forget about him. So she starts at level 19, but she comes with some really mean spells. And, she also has Exit, which is helpful. She also gains a ridiculous amount of stats every level up. Like, she starts out okay, but every level she gets, she just goes in terms of overall stat. It's kind of crazy. The downside is yes, this is Dice, or Dice, or however you pronounce her damn name. The downside is nothing. So we're just going to go ahead and replace that, and that is our final party right there. They're finally making a move. Well, let's do it. Please, Blue, use your magic. Of course. If you do the right thing, you'll get your license back. Yes, sir, I know. I pledge in the name of metalsmiths, we will stop the weapon. This feels like they're trying to like, this whole story arc has been about stopping this super weapon from destroying Prima. And none of this makes sense. I'm actually aggravated by how little sense this whole sequence of events makes. Let's line this up, shall we? So, after doing an entire story arc involving getting a ship, failing, and then getting another ship, that ship is then sunk and we're left on a deserted island. So we go ahead and go underwater to this place. While we're there, we find out that the Empire is doing, or the Empire, the Dark Dragons are doing something nearby, but that's fine, that's whatever. Anyways, so we go ahead and we go do a little bit of a side quest. Get this item, come back here. Oh my god, the Dark Dragons have attacked and are kidnapping the local smith people and are using them to make a super weapon. Oh no. Okay, well, getting this information is good enough to get the gills, so we go ahead and have the access to the underwater section now. And then we go back to that place to get information about where they're holding them, so we can free them, so we can be teleported back and free them, go back to Prima, go back to Gant, go back to the dungeon, make a sidestep over to the crypt for absolutely no reason to go down into the tomb to get the boomerang, because the boomerang is something we can show to the old man, who then proves to him that we know what we're doing against the Dark Dragons. No, that doesn't make any sense. And then as soon as we do that, we can go ahead and gain access to the knowledge we need to go talk to the giant avian bird things, which we use to stage a siege against the Dark Dragon fortress to prevent them from destroying stuff with their super weapon. But by the time we get there, we are held back just a little bit too much, so they launch their super weapon to go destroy the underwater trade hub. We then are like, oh god, we've got to stop this, so we make another trip to go get this other item in order to be able to go get access to Blue, fight 3 bosses in a row just to wake her up, and she's like, yeah, here's an egg. So then we go do an irritating difficulty cliff dungeon to drop an egg into a volcano so that we can go recruit Blue into the party and we could use whatever we used the egg for in order to stop the dark dragons from destroying the Prima trade hub thing. What? I don't mind things being silly. I enjoy Earthbound. But there is a logic to Earthbound. Events make sense and follow reason. This is just, and then this happens, and then this happens. This is just rolling random encounters on the freaking encounter table. I'm sorry. Why do they want to destroy the trade hub? You know, that's a good question. I want you guys right now, in chat, come up with a reason. Because the game didn't. Remember, the actual goal of the Dark Dragons, this is true, is to try and improve the prosperity of the dragon people. So why exactly do they want to do any of the things they've been doing this entire game? Up to and including destroying the central trade hub for the entire planet. How is it out there? The enemy is approaching fast. Stop them. We're tightening our defense. Good luck. Ready to surface. No, we're surrounded by the enemy. We can't run. Blue, we need some fancy moves. This is going to be interesting. Now you'll see my real power. Typhoon bug, do your work. So this is why we put the egg in the volcano. Nothing's happening. Ah, yeah! Okay, go, Typhoon bug, go! No, I don't know what that is, or why it came out of an egg, or why it needed to be hatched in a volcano. What? There are still enemies in here, and the bug is gone. That's cool. Only half the enemies remain. What's going on? Retreat! We'll have to beat them down below. Okay, they're diving. How? What? I'll stop the enemy. Hurry! How are they... How... Okay. Sure. Could you stop screwing with my party, by the way, game? Is that a thing you could do? Please? Oh god, Ryu and Dice do actually look rather similar to each other there. Anyways, let's go fight a boss. Ryu, you take care of the leader. I'll handle the rest. You've destroyed my battalion. You'll pay for that. Why are we fighting? You were in 3 battleships, and you dived over the surface to the bottom of the ocean to fight on foot at the bottom of the ocean. And your super form is a crab. What? I should mention, by the way, we're actually really underleveled where we're supposed to be, despite the fact that we haven't been running from encounters at all the entire game. Just pointing that out for no particular reason. We still don't have an AoE heal either. No, we don't have an AoE anything. Oh, the game really wants you to grind. And that's tough. Breath of Fire 1 does have an AoE heal. We will get it at level 37. For perspective, Nina is currently level 22. Exdeath and Kuja. Ross. What? Okay. Thank God. Please die. I don't know how much HP you have left, but it's too much. Thank you. Yeah, notice her stats are going up by quite a bit. She learns spells pretty quickly, too. If I go down, I'm taking you with me. Ha, you're bluffing. Give up. I'm gonna blow you out of the water. This is easier than I thought. Don't underestimate my power. This is getting bad. Oh no. Really bad. Let's go. What? And now for our very first Meanwhile Elsewhere in the entire game. My plans are going well, Jade. You have done good work. Thank you, Emperor. What was the problem in Prima? Was it the light dragons? Those fools have been interfering with our search for the keys. The light dragons will pay for this. Get rid of them now, Commander, and find me the goddess keys. Yes, sir, you just keep sitting on your throne doing nothing until the boss battle. There's a term for that. It's called Orcus on his throne. So now we get the 4 Legion people. Like, we had the 4 Fiends in FF4, we had all the demons in FF5. We have the Turks in FF7. We have, like, the Vandal bodyguards in Secret of Mana. We've got the Mystic Trio and Chrono Trigger. There's always, like, the squad, right? So Searle shows up. What do you make of this, Commander? That's Goda. Commander, I'm concerned. That's Court. He's a mess. It's not worth the Commander's time. And that's Moat. He's... yeah. General might be doing this to distract Commander Jade. Don't worry about it. We get this covered. I'm leaving it in your hands to conquer the enemy and find the keys. So Zog just told Jade, defeat the enemy and find the keys. So Jade just told his minions, defeat the enemy and find the keys. Does anybody give any actual orders in this organization? I'm just idly curious. Where are you, Dragon of Light? Meanwhile, Prima would be toast if that explosion was any closer. Come again anytime. Where are you going, Gobi? I'm going with them. Ryu still owes me money. Tell us the truth. You just want to be with us, right? No! I want my money. Come on, let's go. I want you to work hard so you can pay me back. Gobi, you have such a one-track mind. What? I didn't hear you? Never mind. Attempts at banter. What? I'm missing something. I think he's loan sharking me. Yep, Gobi is a cold fish. Also, we just got demorphed again. Please stop doing that to me, game. Welcome back, Gobi. I'll give you your license and the sphere. A member of our clan used the sphere to turn into a big fish. Yay. What the hell is SF? Staff, I guess? So maybe her? Maybe her? No, she's a rapier. Nope. What the hell is the misstaff? I don't know. What is this thing? Why does it not tell me what any of the accessories do? God dang it. It's okay, I've got an equipment fact. Okay, what's it do? Nothing. It literally does nothing. Dump the pouch now. We don't actually need that anymore, I think. Look at this gorgeous inventory, by the way. I think we've already got a nominee for Worst Inventory of 2024. Off freaking one. Listen, I didn't plan for that, okay, Ross? It's also why I had to finagle a little bit when it came to picking my Sushi of the Year for last year. Because just picking the best games feels like cheating, you know? This is better than Secret of the Stars. I'll actually agree with you on that. Yeah, that tracks, Ross. Okay, so... Hang on, I need to find something, and I don't feel like searching the fact for where it is. We're just going to go looking for it the old-fashioned way. Oh, there's one right there. I suppose I should get that for Nina as well while we're here. Oh, absolutely, Ross. No question. Galaxy 2 is a very, very good game. Ruined by a terrible control scheme. Yeah, that's a good question. Name a 16-bit RPG that looks worse than Secret of the Stars. Go ahead. I'll wait. By the way, you can only use what I'm about to do when you have not merged. So that sucks. But we can finally go over this gap in the water. I don't know why we needed a fish to do that, but what the hell do I know? Hang on, I think that was it right there. Maybe? Yep. Not that I'm aware of, no. It is pretty much literally just a way to cross over. It's a key. It's a key to cross over that one door. Do you mind? Yeah, the tune is to dive for Blue Fusion Bolt. How do I get over there? Okay. I might have to actually pull up a map here, because I'm not sure how to get where I'm trying to go. Let's see. Aha! Okay. This is a guess, but I think I know where I'm going. I, of course, do not. But you never know. I might. Probably Crazy Norse. Poor Jean. Jean's one of those characters I should actually hate, but I actually don't. Now his sister... Here we go. This is where we wanted to be. This should look familiar to anybody who's played the second game. Sleep, Crazy Norse, sleep. Give in to the sleep side. It is a nice song. Like I said, I feel if the sound font was better, I'd really enjoy the soundtrack a lot more. But it isn't, so I don't. I'm still giving it a plus, it's just... could be better. It is very Dragon Quest, that's fair. I wonder what it would sound like in an orchestra. Okay. Well, it's not boring, Crazy Horse. It's just not really my thing. And, well, I do think their music direction could use some work. Like, the songs they use for certain scenes don't work all the time for me. That's all. If you want to make a big catch, you'll need what's under the box. Ah! Well, that's not what I wanted. Oh, God dang it. I wouldn't say we need this item, but we really should get this item, which is why I'm bothering. Oh my god, my kingdom for a sprint button! There we go. Rod 5. Yeah, practically mandatory. Oh, I have no idea, Crazy Norse. I don't even remember where the other ones are. If you're looking for a place to rest and enjoy music, look no further. He lied. Alright, Okay, so first we go to Aria. It's true, Sovacom. Buy a few worms. Okay, so I need you to Moige. Then I need you to Suckless. There we go. I do have herbs. Why? Don't worry, I got the herb. Yeah, no kidding, Blue Fusion Pole. In gameplay or in story. Alright, so... yeah, Breath of Fire 2... we talk about quit points in Breath of Fire 3. You would not believe how many quit points I ran into in Breath of Fire 2. It took a long time for me to finally beat that game. Or, whoops, I don't want to go in here. Hang on, where am I going? I like how Savacom is so excited about cheating in Bofto. You know, I could see that, Blatable. I'm not even sure how far we are through the game at this point. I've sort of lost track. We've been meandering for a really long time, and we haven't even met the four... or, excuse me, we have only met the 4 mini-boss squad just now. Like, what the hell have we been doing in this game? Yeah, we're also under-leveled, which is just weird to think about. And where's the worms? There they are. Really? BOF 2 will be shorter simply because we will be cheating. BOF 3 will be substantially longer. Ryu catches a dragon sword. Yeah, that's a bit of a boost. She's a Lamia thing. Okay, so now, let's head to... Have I ever beaten BOF 2 without cheats? Yes, actually. No, I don't know how. I mean, yeah, I only save stated last time, too, but still. I don't, Noctis. I just label that we use cheats, and that's it. So BOF 2 will technically score better than it should because of the fact that it won't be as long as it should be. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm pretty sure that the only members of the Dark Dragon clan that are actually powerful Dark Dragons are like the two, Jade and Zog. Then again, who knows? All the Dark Dragon generals seem to be getting demonic power from Myria, so... Oh, that's a good point, Sobcom. I hadn't thought about that. You got Dragon Helmet. Which we'll, of course, immediately equip. Another massive boost to stats. Okay, so that's 2 pieces of the dragon armor. I'm sorry, Pillars. No, give me a second. Hit the stream brakes. And let me check the queue. Do I have thoughts on the prevalent complaint that FF14 has no content because of the lack of a Eureka or Boja equivalent? That is the dumbest thing I've heard this year. Moving on. Let's see. So. I'm not calling you stupid, it's just, like, unless you're telling me you think that way, in which case, you're gonna have to explain that to me, because I obviously misunderstood. Yeah, that's the other thing, like, there is Eureka and Boja in FF14. That's a thing. Oh, Endwalker specifically. Okay, okay. That's, yeah, there's no content in Endwalker. I mean, all there is a colossally huge main story quest, along with multiple patches that go through that, and at least 2 raid arcs that I know of, and however many, like, other side quests that they just keep adding periodically. And the additional dungeons that go along with that. And the Island Sanctuary. There's no content in Endwalker! Real talk. Oh, yeah, and the Hildebrand thing. Real talk, you know what that reminds me of? There was a interview thing once, which may have been a plant. We never actually figured that out. Which stated that several people thought a certain game didn't actually have content because there were no microtransactions in it. I don't remember the game anymore. I'm sorry. It's actually a years-old anecdote at this point. One thing they have done with FF14 and Endwalker, which I am 100% in favor of, by the way, is they've slowed down the content cycle so that the developers don't constantly burn themselves out pushing out content. Hugely in favor of that. Ain't that the truth, Mr. Red? If we listen to the community to gauge a game's health, then WoW has been a sickly old man for over a decade. Actually reminds me of an old joke. It was a comic, a webcomic, which was like, oh, this game sucks because of this stupid reason. And then rewind 1 year. Oh, this game sucks because of this other specific reason. Rewind another year. Oh, this game sucks. Rewind a year. Oh, this game sucks. Rewind a year. Do I have to do this whole stupid dungeon every time I go through here? Oh my god. Yeah, fresh reminder, WoW is still the dominant MMO. That hasn't stopped being a thing. Even though WoW took a huge hit during the Shadowlands bump, WoW is still the top MMO. Just point that out. In fact, last I checked at the records, the only other MMO that's even in fighting range of WoW is actually old school RuneScape, which I can't even speak to. That's just whatever. Good morning, Darkrai. I don't have figures in front of me, Savicom. A lot? Does that count? Is that a sufficient answer? Yeah. That's actually an interesting way to put that, Mr. Red. WoW was so dominant, it took BFA and Shadowlands back to back to break that dominance. And even that didn't actually break it, it just, you know, shook it. That's vaguely impressive. I was seeing a Jawstrife Hayes video from, like, earlier this week, where he was talking about gaming piracy. Fascinating topic, actually. But he quoted something that Gabe Newell has said, which I agree with completely. And it boils down to, piracy is a service problem, not a pricing problem. The idea here is that the more convenient you make buying your game and accessing your game, the less likely it is that people will pirate it. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that that is true. It's one of the reasons why Steam is extraordinarily user-friendly. And is so, like, if you ever had an issue with a specific game, there's a pretty decent chance Steam has been like, yeah, sure, we'll handle that for you, because that's their method. That's how they deal with that. What does this have to do with anything? If you want to play WoW right now, you can pretty much just jump right in with no issues. Just, boom. If you want to play FF14 right now, good luck. They really, really need to fix that. FF14 still has an unreasonably large barrier to entry just for getting into the game right now. I'm not even talking about ARR or quest design or class design or game. I'm talking about getting the game, buying the game, getting your account set up, getting your login, getting patched, and getting into the game. All of that is at least 3 quit points. They really need to smooth that over. I cannot believe that, especially after the Shadowlands bump, which FF14 benefited from, they have not fixed that crap. Earlier this year, Evo, I think I mentioned this to a few people, decided to pick up FF14, mostly because of me, and she almost put the game right back down because of how much of a hassle it was getting to the point where she could log into the game. So, yeah, no, popping into WoW is like that right now. Honestly, Guild Wars 2 is pretty smooth, too. But FF14 is a hassle, and it really needs to not be. They need to fix their front end, they need to fix their back end, and they need to smooth that out. I would believe that, Blade Tavel, and you know why? Because I played FF11 back in the day. Oh, man. Square. I love you, really. But, Square. Come on, guys. Yeah, Play Online was a plague. Plague Online. There it is. What do you do? Ah. Alright, so, this is supposed to be an easy boss fight, but we're also supposed to be like 5 levels higher than we are, so let's see how this works out. Now, we have been getting some really good gear, and that's been covering our levels a bit. I think we got this. Kind of a numbers game right now. No, Mr. Red. I hate to say this, but I'm pretty sure one of the biggest reasons... Well, two of the biggest reasons why FF14 has not fixed the takes forever to get to the good part problem is A... Whoops. Because of the fact that there's probably some code reasons for it. And B, because that way they can sell level boosts. Evo and I have been very tempted to buy a skip ARR pack just to get on with it. So that was easy. Yay, gear. So now we have the AoE dragons. I believe fire is the best of these ones, despite the stats. Can't skip coils. That could be Blade Travail. But I don't know. I don't actually... I think there's more going on than just that, or even what I said. But I stand by my initial point. I really do think there's at least some code issues getting in the way. There's probably also a work development line thing going in the way. As the developers have said many, many times, if you want us to go fix X, Y, or Z, then that's going to cost you a raid. That's true in any MMO. You know, development time is a zero-sum game, after all. And every time the FF14 developers bring that up, most people say, yeah, no, just keep making new content, screw the old stuff, and it's like... And while I get that, that is... dangerous. The longer you do that, the more likely you are that your MMO will slowly spiral out. That's a good question, Darkrai. So, I would say, so this is just my opinion, and you know I'm harsher about games than most people, because I review them for a living. But I would say that ARR doesn't actually get to the point of starting to get good until after you're past the initial stuff. So when you get to 2.1, I believe is the patch number. Leading into Good King Moogle Until then, it's all meandering, junk, crap, and occasional moments of like, okay, I can kind of see where you're going with, followed immediately by more garbage. Now, it's worth noting that it's not as bad as it used to be. It's still bad, but it has improved substantially. The Titan chain, the Garuda chain, the lead up into the final MSQ, the MSQQ, and a lot of the dungeons, like Copperhell is gone, and what's the other one? The other dungeon I hated so much. The 1,000 Maws of Totorak or something like that. All of that was improved. So that's good. But I personally still wouldn't, having just gone through all of that over the last few weeks, I wouldn't call any of that good, personally. So, about 90 or so hours until you get to the part where it starts to get good. My opinion. Sorry, I'm checking something here. Forgive me. You are completely insane, Yada. I just want you to know that. No offense or anything, but you're insane. Oh yeah, the lead up to Heaven's Word is what I consider to be one of the worst cutscenes, or story beats. It's actually many, many cutscenes in the entire game. I spit venom at it. I've already warned Evo that there's something terrible coming up, and I want to warn her. Like, we got some crap ahead of us. Just letting you know in advance. Damn. I was hoping for just a second he might be able to do the fish form. These are really good cacti. So, you've said that several times over the last few days, Valerian. I always feel bad, because I hate ARR. But rather than, you know, just be like, ah, you suck, Valerian. Why do you suck so bad? You're the suckiest to ever suck of all suck. What do you like about ARR, if you don't mind sharing? What do you like about how much it sucks? Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's unfuse. Let's get Worthless in the party here. It's not 1.0. That's true. It is better than 1.0, as every game ever made is. I agree with that completely. Okay, so here's the coral. I mean, I've played a lot worse games than ARR. Like, a lot worse. But it didn't score super well. Because we've actually reviewed it under the current system. The ARR miracle. Yeah. I gave it special, unique positives just for the fact that the ARR miracle exists, because it's so unique of a situation that happened. It really is bonkers crazy that we actually got the ARR miracle. It should not have happened by any account, and yet it did. So here's our tier 2 dragons. You might recognize these as the ones from the cover art. Please stop cursing me. Oh my god. And And this one does AoE damage, which also does double damage to undead. So, world building, if I'm pulling that apart correctly there, is what you liked about it. I can see that. There is a lot of world building in ARR. I was actually pointing out a lot of little stuff to Evo as we were going through it. That's a good question. Where are we in the story? Hang on a second. 1 second. Where are we? Looks like we have officially entered Chapter 6. Yay. Oh, Chapter 6 is a relatively short one. I forgot about this. That's part of why I wanted her to do it, Bragwin. I mean, no, that's valid, Valerian. Something I try to point out a lot is, you know, I give negatives for X, Y, or Z. But if those things don't bother you, then those things aren't going to bother you about the game in question, right? And of course, I always review a game with everything, which dragged ARR's score down a lot, because the side quests in ARR suck. How many of you remember walk forward 10 feet, beckon a second time, because it didn't cake, walk forward 5 feet, beckon, walk forward 5 feet, beckon. So that didn't help the score any, what I'm trying to say. Why are these people all spinning? Why are they spinning? Oh, they're all crazy. I feel like someone's stealing my bed, though. Who could possibly be doing that? The dragons destroyed the bridge. Only Nicola. No, it's so loud. My goodness. Okay. Oh, it's dinner time? Well, that's good, because it's about cut-off time for me. Do I get a hug before it's dinner time? Do I get a backwards hug? Backwards hug. Delicious dinner. Wait, are you a zombie?
I'm a zombie.
Oh no, she's a zombie. No. Whoa, careful, careful.
I touched you.
Oh, I am now a zombie. I'm a zombie. Wait, we're both zombies now, right? So we need to eat someone else's brains.
Yeah.
But we must still give zombie hug, zombie hug. Come back here now. Tomorrow, roughly at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will go ahead and continue this. Hopefully smash through Chapter 6. See you guys.